So welcome back to the Business Coach. Before the break, you were having a discussion with Darshan around how much COVID has affected the Chandaria industries as a business. But right now, after the break, I want to shift this particular conversation. So Darshan.
Hi guys.
Hi. So you joined the business in 2009, and then you became the CEO in 2015. Take me through the process. Did your father literally groom you towards this particular role, and how exactly has it been standing at the mantle of one of the biggest companies in the country?
No, that's a very good question. I think the journey has been very, very interesting. I think to start with, it's important to note, and I think quite a few people, who work with us know this, that we base recruitment on merit. We have a lot of senior non-family members, professionals who are in very, very important roles, and recruitment, by the leadership team, by the board for senior positions is done very much on a merit basis. And I think what that really means is that you are going to be chosen on your credentials. So being a family member is a very, very small part, or has a very, very small impact on being selected for a role. So I joined the business in 2009. I joined the business in the sales department, right at the bottom, of the business. I was out with customers helping merchandise products. I was out seeing how their operations work, out, with our sales team, at supermarkets, just seeing how products are laid out, how they're delivered, the full cycle. So,
Yeah.
And my dad, Mahesh Chandaria, always said that to understand, a business, you have to start with what keeps the business ticking, and that's your customers. Understand how they operate, how we should serve them, and onward from there. I went through different elements of the business, the production side, supply chain, HR. People are your most important asset. This is said not enough, I think. So how, what kind of culture are we creating? How are we recruiting and retaining the best talent? What are we doing for the personal development, of our teams? How are we creating an environment that people aspire to work at? And then, in 2014, I actually applied to become the company's chief operating officer, and I actually was not successful. An external professional was chosen over me. And I think that was a bit of a wake-up call to say, look, if somebody else can do it, why can't I? I put in more time, commitment. I really I was in charge of sales at that point in time. Supply chain, also fell under me. So I was playing more a sales commercial role. And I just made sure that we hit all our targets. I was on top of my game. And in 2015, then I reapplied for the CEO's position and, got it.
Take me through now your journey, because I think by the time you're applying, because you recently celebrated your 34th birthday, I presume you're around 28, 29, quite young, and being in charge of a very big portfolio and a very big company. How exactly has it been when you first took over, and how has this experience been for the last five years?
So I would definitely like, to start by saying that there is no shortcut to success. This whole philosophy about work smarter, don't work hard, there is just no shortcut. You've got to be committed, you've got to do the hard work, you've got to put in the hours, you've got to make the sacrifices. And I think I've learned that throughout my journey. Is something I will always talk about. I've experienced it firsthand. Being, in a business that, had a bit of a base, before I joined. We've got some of the top executives, some of the top employees in the country in our sector, working in our business. It's just, you've got to make sure you keep moving, you're on top of the ball, you feel the pulse of the business. You've got to know every area, every nook and corner of the business. You've got to understand, because if you don't, you're making decisions without understanding the impact throughout all levels of the organization. And I think that was really important. I think my time at the bottom of the organization with customers, understanding how that worked, understanding how the sales processes work, my time then, with supply chain, understanding every element of the business, from raw materials, incoming goods of all sorts, people issues. What sort of people issues do we encounter? How do we deal with them? These are not just professional issues, right? People have personal, emotional issues that you almost become like a counselor, when you're a business leader in the business. IT, making sure that we had the best IT systems at all times. How do we utilize data and information, as a competitive advantage? Just production. How does it all, come together? So when you master that, and once you have got a real grip and you feel the pulse of a business, I think you're ready to lead the business. I've been leading the business since 2015. Obviously, we've expanded tremendously, in the last 5 years. We have gone into new product categories. We've expanded capacity. We've gone into new markets, from an export perspective, and we'll continue to do this. So, what is the role of a leader and a CEO? I think it's all important to pause for a minute and talk about this.
Right.
It's not just driving financial results for your shareholders. It is making sure that all the stakeholders who are involved in your business grow with you.
Yeah.
Now, what do I mean? Your customers must grow with you. Your employees must grow with you. Your suppliers must grow with you. You want to run a business that sustainably has an impact on the stakeholders, on the economy and the country. So today, apart from innovating in terms of products, in terms of driving numbers, sales numbers, profit numbers, we're also saying, how do we become that business model, and how do we create a platform that every stakeholder wants to plug into and work with us, because they know they will grow with us. It's not just a one-sided affair where Chandaria Industries is growing or any of our group companies are growing, but you're going to plug into a platform where you're growing with us.
So, ever since you joined the company as the CEO, one of the interesting things that you've ventured into is that you've expanded the portfolio base. You've gone into Chandaria Capital, you've gone into real estate, and you've developed new interest for the company. What exactly prompted this, and how exactly have you ensured that they remain sustainable, and the main company, Chandaria Industries, is also still operational and still profitable?
Okay, so I think, look, for an entrepreneur, it's natural to want to do many things at once. I'm the kind of person who just needs to have multiple things, going on around me from a professional, social, family perspective. I like dynamic situations. I like challenges. I want to take on the things that people say are hard or impossible to achieve. So I think my want, my vision to get into new sectors, new businesses came at a very early age. And I realized to do this, we are going to need to set up new entities, venture into new sectors, and do them in different ways. So, a couple of examples along the way. Mobius Motors, for example, was a business we became an investor in. There was already an entrepreneur. There was already a vision and an idea. We bought into that vision and idea, and we believed that we would be able to add value in certain ways. And that's exactly what we did. We came in as an investor. Our joint venture with Barclays Africa in the insurance sector in East Africa, we also came in on board as an investor. We believed that Barclays, was a great global company, but they needed some help to locally modify and make the business model fit for what Kenyans and East Africans wanted in the insurance space. So a great partnership. When you look at businesses like Chandaria Properties and Chandaria Capital, those we created from scratch because we believed that the market needed a business model like Chandaria Capital. There was no real local Kenyan venture capital fund.
Right.
There was no, local, venture capital fund that was actually investing, sort of in Kenyan businesses that were making, a difference. And what we have, mostly is angel investing, individuals who put money in at a very early stage in businesses that they believe will succeed. But what we did is we created a structured platform. We have 2 investment bankers. We have chartered accountants working there full time. We have an advisory board of global experienced, excellent leaders in this space of venture capitalism who sit on our board. And we've created a structured Kenyan vehicle that will back entrepreneurs that we believe in, that will back businesses that, we believe can become the next national, regional, and multinational businesses. So we've had a different strategy. So we've gone in as investors in some sectors, and we've actually started the businesses, afresh in some sectors, just based on how we best believe we would have the right impact in that industry and sector, the right impact in the ecosystem, and the right formula and recipe for success. And now coming on sustainability.
All right, and speaking about Chandaria Capital, what kind of industries are you targeting? Or rather, what kind of industries do you have interest in terms of investing?
So before we go on to that, let's talk about how we make the different businesses sustainable.
All right.
How are the different sectors sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And how do we make sure of this? So one of the things that we've done also, and I also pushed very hard at group level, was to say that, look, we need to have the best professionals on our teams. We need to have good people who will be able to execute independently. We need to give them a mandate. And look, entrepreneurs always have a tendency to micromanage and want to get involved. I still have that tendency today. I like to feel the pulse of the business. Is it a bad thing from my perspective? Not. But we also want to give, the room and the independence and the mandate to those professionals that we brought on board to deliver. Because otherwise you get into an environment which is very suffocating. Yes, you're there in a big company, at a good position, good package, good benefits, but you don't see a growth path. So we've got good teams, across all our businesses. We've got, like I mentioned, we try and attract the strongest professionals in the country to come and work for our businesses. And we treat each business as a separate profit center. Therefore, Chandaria Industries must perform on its own as a separate profit center. Chandaria Capital must perform on its own as a separate profit center. No business should be supporting the other or subsidizing the other. Now, specifically Chandaria Capital, just quickly, to talk about what we're doing. So Mobius Motors was one of our first investments, and I think, it's fair to say that business has been a tremendous success. We see the vehicles on the roads.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm saying I've seen the cars on the street.
Yes. No, the business has been tremendous success. We've attracted some of the most interesting, best known global investors to come onto that business. Without disclosing names, we've got some seriously strong investors, and that business is now set to scale to another level. We went into a business called Soko Watch, which is a tech-enabled FMCG platform. Again, it's done fantastically well. We're very happy with the success of that business. We went into Cocoa Networks, the clean cooking fuel tech-enabled business model. We went into Kobo 360, which is logistics tech-enabled platform, started in Nigeria. Now is in Kenya. We're very excited. I mean, we've got a portfolio.
It's a huge portfolio.
Companies in our portfolio.
All right. So thank you so much, Darshan, for the conversation. I know we can go on and on, but you're now short of time. But I appreciate for the insights you've shared. I think you've learned quite a lot from your journey. And I'm wishing you all the best, and I hope keep on continuing the charity work that you've been doing. Thank you so much for supporting Kenyans in general through the COVID season. So thank you so much.
I think that's what we need to do, right?
Yes.
Business leaders have to come out. The private sector has to come out and support people. But I know we're running out of time, so thank you very much for your time, and thank you
so much for your time, Darshan. I appreciate. Thank you so much for having watched the show. If you're just joining in this particular conversation, you'd like to get in touch with Darshan, do so under the hashtag KTN Business Coach, at Darshan Chandaria, at KTN Home across all platforms, at Ian Dennis Network. My name is Ian Dennis, and this has been the Business Coach, where we help entrepreneurs better their businesses.